On a typical morning at Houston Executive Airport, the air was filled with the usual bustle of travelers and the hum of aircraft engines. Among them, a giant plane stood poised for takeoff, ready to embark on what was expected to be a routine flight to Boston. The passengers, a mix of excitement and routine travelers, were unaware of the extraordinary event they were about to witness. This aircraft, a true marvel of modern engineering, commanded admiration for its impressive size and remarkable capabilities. As it sat gracefully on the expansive tarmac, its imposing figure stood as a symbol of extraordinary human achievement in the realm of aviation. Yet, amidst the awe-inspiring power of its engines and the sleek elegance of its design, one couldn't help but wonder, were all the necessary preparations meticulously made for this particular journey? Were the crew, the equipment, and the systems primed and ready to navigate the skies with utmost precision and safety? Only time would reveal the answers, as this extraordinary machine embarked on its destined path. Inside the terminal, passengers excitedly chatted about their destination, the AL Championship Series game in Boston. Their conversations were a delightful blend of sports talk and the usual pre-flight topics, creating a lively atmosphere. Little did they know the thrilling drama that awaited them. As they boarded the plane, thoughts raced through their minds. Anticipation, hope, and a touch of nervousness filled the air. Would their favorite team emerge victorious? Only time will tell. Amidst the hustle and bustle, the excitement was palpable. The journey was about to begin, and the passengers were ready to embark on a memorable experience that would be etched in their minds forever. As the boarding process began, each passenger stepped into the aircraft, some with a sense of awe at its size. The cabin crew welcomed them with routine smiles and gestures. Was this normalcy a prelude to something unexpected? Once aboard the aircraft, passengers quickly located their designated seats, stowed away their personal belongings, and settled in for the journey ahead. The familiar sounds of luggage compartments closing and seatbelts securely fastening reverberated throughout the cabin, creating an atmosphere of anticipation. As the aircraft prepared for departure, one couldn't help but wonder if there was something distinct about this particular flight. Perhaps, amidst these seemingly ordinary moments of pre-flight preparation, there lingered an intangible sense of intrigue and possibility. Only time would reveal if this flight would unfold as an extraordinary experience for those on board. Outside, ground crew members performed their final checks. The pilots reviewed their flight plans and systems. Everything appeared to be in order for a standard takeoff. But in aviation, can one ever be too sure? With all preparations meticulously completed, the colossal plane's engines thundered to life, their deafening roar simultaneously serving as a reassuring comfort and a resolute signal of the imminent commencement of the journey. The reverberations of the engines permeated the cabin, creating an ambiance of anticipation and excitement. Amidst this atmosphere, the minds of those aboard began to ponder a myriad of expectations. Some hoped for adventure and discovery, while others yearned for personal growth and transformation. A few sought solace and introspection, using the journey as an opportunity for self-reflection. Collectively, they all harbored a shared sentiment of embarking on a remarkable odyssey into the unknown, united by the thrill of what lay ahead. The aircraft began to taxi towards the runway, its movements slow and deliberate. The passengers looked out the windows, some taking in the sights of the airport, others lost in their thoughts. Were they aware of the unique story they were about to be part of? As the plane aligned with the runway, the sense of anticipation grew. The passengers looked out the windows, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The pilots made their final announcements, their voices projecting confidence and expertise. The cabin crew, well-trained and composed, went through their pre-landing routines. In these last moments of calm, a myriad of thoughts raced through the minds of those on board. Some were thinking about the destination and what awaited them there. Others were reflecting on the journey and the experiences they had along the way. And some were simply marveling at the incredible feat of human ingenuity that allows us to soar through the sky. As the wheels touched the ground and the plane gradually came to a halt, the passengers exhaled, knowing they had safely completed another leg of their journey. With clearance from the control tower, the plane positioned itself on the runway. The pilots readied themselves, the passengers braced for the acceleration, and the aircraft's lights pierced the morning sky. But as the throttle was engaged, Was everything as it seemed? From the ground, everyone at the airport held their breath, their eyes locked on the enormous aircraft. It raced down the runway, anticipation filling the air. They expected it to soar, effortlessly defying gravity, but as time passed, a growing unease settled among the onlookers. Would this mighty machine perform its usual feat, or was something wrong? The suspense lingered, capturing the attention of all those witnessing this dramatic moment. Observers outside the plane were now in a state of suspense. They watched as the aircraft, a familiar sight in the sky, behaved unusually on the ground. Some reached for their phones to capture the moment, while others simply stared, caught up in the unfolding drama. Time seemed to stand still as everyone wondered how this tense scenario would resolve. Would it be a smooth landing or a dramatic turn of events? The anticipation grew, each passing second feeling like an eternity. The crowd held their breath, their eyes fixed on the aircraft, waiting for the answer to unfold before their very eyes. In the control tower, experienced eyes closely monitored the progress of the aircraft. The air traffic controllers, with their vast expertise in managing numerous takeoffs, detected a subtle deviation from the norm. Their focus intensified as they remained prepared to handle any potential. On the tarmac, the ground crew watched closely as the massive aircraft prepared for takeoff. They knew the plane inside and out, and with every second of acceleration, the weight of responsibility pressed heavier. Would their meticulous preparation be enough for a flawless departure? Inside the cabin, tension rippled through the passengers, faces pressed to the windows, whispers shared between strangers. The flight attendants moved with calm precision, offering quiet reassurances, but even their composure couldn't mask the unease. Outside, dark clouds gathered, shadows stretching across the fuselage. Then an abrupt pause. The engines seemed to hesitate, a subtle shift felt by all. Was it a technical fault or a calculated precaution? Passengers exchanged worried glances, and speculation buzzed both inside and outside the plane. Moments later, the engine surged again, the incident fading into the background but leaving behind an unshakable reminder of how quickly certainty can falter. In the cockpit, the pilots faced a pivotal decision. Training had prepared them for countless scenarios, but each moment in aviation came with its own unique risks. The safety of everyone aboard now rested on their judgment. As the aircraft neared the runway's end, the atmosphere reached a breaking point. In the control tower, staff stood ready to respond. On the ground, operations paused as eyes locked onto the aircraft's path. Inside, passengers gripped their armrests, the cabin filled with silent anticipation. The final stretch was here. The engines roared, the nose tilted upward, and every heart in sight held still. Would the giant of the skies lift gracefully? Or would fate intervene? The moment would be etched in memory, a tense, shared experience binding passengers, crew, and ground staff in one breathless wait for the outcome. The moment created a collective experience, binding everyone together in a shared narrative that transcended individual perspectives. Time seemed to stand still as the aircraft continued its relentless pursuit of flight. The passengers, crew, and onlookers were united in a single, breathless moment, waiting for the plane to make its move. It was a moment suspended in time, filled with a mix of fear, hope, and anticipation. What would the next second reveal? Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The aircraft's fate, which had been hanging in the balance, was about to be unveiled. Inside the plane, a collective gasp echoed as passengers braced themselves. Outside, eyes were glued to the scene, waiting for the climax of this unexpected drama. The tension had built to a breaking point, and the resolution was imminent. In the cabin, reactions varied greatly among the passengers. Some closed their eyes tightly, seeking solace in the darkness, while others whispered fervent prayers under their breath. A few tried their best to maintain a facade of calmness, their trembling hands giving away their true emotions. Even the flight attendants, accustomed to handling emergencies with composure, couldn't hide the flicker of worry in their eyes. In that moment, everyone present was acutely aware that they were part of an extraordinary event, a rare occurrence that would be etched in their memories forever. The air crackled with a mixture of fear, anticipation, and an underlying sense of unity. Time seemed to stretch, as each passing second held an immeasurable weight. The aircraft, now positioned at the very edge of the runway, embarked on a climactic turn that would shape the entire experience. In these crucial seconds, the decision made by the pilots would hold the power to determine the outcome of this high-stakes scenario. The air was thick with anticipation as everyone eagerly awaited the plane's response. The gravity of the moment hung in the atmosphere, intensifying the sense of suspense and drama. The fate of the situation rested on the next moves made by the skilled aviators, heightening the tension and capturing the attention of all observers. From the tarmac to the control tower, tension was almost tangible. Ground crew, airport staff, and bystanders held their breath as the massive MD-87 charged down the runway. Inside the cabin, passengers exchanged uneasy glances while flight attendants moved with practiced calm. Suddenly, the aircraft hesitated. The brief pause sent ripples of anxiety through passengers and onlookers alike. Moments later, the engines surged again, but the unease lingered. In the cockpit, the pilots faced critical decisions, fully aware that the safety of everyone on board rested on their actions. As the plane neared the runway's end, anticipation peaked, then alarm set in. The aircraft was struggling to gain speed. Seconds later, it overran the tarmac, burst through the perimeter fence, and collided with a power line before coming to a halt. Flames erupted, black smoke billowing into the sky. Inside, panic took over. Passengers scrambled for the exits, their only focus survival. The roar of the fire and the stench of smoke filled the air as cabin crew fought to maintain order, guiding everyone towards safety. Outside, emergency responders raced to the scene. Firefighters battled the blaze with fearless precision, while medical teams treated the injured. Their rapid, coordinated actions prevented an even greater tragedy. Onlookers stood frozen, shocked at the spectacle before them. For many, it was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of air travel. Within minutes, the fire was contained, and all passengers and crew were evacuated. The aftermath was sobering. The MD-87 lay in ruins at the end of the overrun strip, a twisted shell of its former self. News of the incident spread quickly, dominating headlines and sparking widespread discussion about aviation safety. Experts and authorities began reassessing protocols to ensure such a disaster would never happen again. It was an unforgettable day, one marked by fear, chaos, and the heroism of those who responded without hesitation. It also sparked conversations among aviation enthusiasts, pilots, and passengers, highlighting the importance of stringent safety measures and continuous improvement in the aviation industry. The incident underscored the need for vigilance and adherence to best practices to ensure the well-being of both crew members and passengers.